and welcome to our bullpen slam team, Helicon. My name is Michael Skillings, and I will be your MC this evening. Helicon West is a live reading series that brings published local writers to read alongside community members in an open, uncensored forum. In order to promote the voice of every community member and democratic ideals, we honor all levels of skill, ability, and craft. In addition to featuring published authors to give the literary arts more exposure in Cache Valley and its surrounding areas, we invite and celebrate aspiring writers from every walk of life to find and share their voices with us. We are committed to the causes of inclusion, accessibility, and representation in our writing community. Helicon West operates on the territory of the northwestern band of the Shoshone Nation, whose people have been living, working, and residing on this land from time immemorial. We acknowledge that these lands carry the stories of these nations and their struggles for survival and identity. We recognize elders past and present as peoples who have cared for and continue to care for the land. In offering this land acknowledgement, we affirm indigenous self-governance and history, experiences, and resiliency of the Native people who are still here today. I would like to thank our sponsors, the Bear River Heritage Area, the Logan Library, Sugar House Review, the Utah Humanities, our founder and matron saint, Star Colebrook, and the Cache Valley Center for the Arts for our springtime home. If you would like to read during the open mic portion of our event, please find our sign-up sheet, which is right there. After our featured readers, we will get as far down the list as time permits. Each reader will have up to 7 minutes of time to read for us, and after 7 minutes, they will be politely clapped off. All of our Helicon West events are recorded and then posted to our Helicon West YouTube channel. If you do not wish to be recorded but would like to read during the open mic, please make a note by your name when you sign up so we can turn our camera off during your turn. I think there's some room near the edges and back. This is a way bigger turnout than I think I've ever seen for Helicon West. And also, and it's also way bigger than I was expecting, so that's another layer of nervousness. Anyway, we've got a few announcements. Helicon West is made possible by our generous sponsors, by the community we serve, to help us stay in person until the new Logan Library is built, not to mention hydrated and caffeinated. Also, by the way, there's coffee back there. There are several ways to make a donation. You can scan our QR code and donate via PayPal. You can leave your sweet, sweet pocket change in our collection can, which I think is over by the coffee. Help us continue to bring free literary events to our community. If something moves you, if the coffee revives you, if you get a great date out of tonight, consider leaving a tip to help keep a good thing going. And unfortunately, the bullpen doesn't have any merch or books or anything. But if you find one of us afterwards, we are happy to give you your choice of a firm handshake or a crisp high five. So a little bit about us, featured readers, the USU Bullpen Slam team. The USU Bullpen is a creative writing club that meets up on USU campus. We meet, this semester we've been meeting every Monday at 3 o'clock for discussions about the writing craft, for workshops, for fun little exercises. And it's pretty sparse most of the time, so if that interests anyone, we'd love to see you there. Every year we put together a slam poetry team to come perform at Helicon West. We've been working hard and we are excited to share what we've come up with. Our first reader tonight was going to be Amrutha Smith, who was the last president of Bullpen. But she is actually at Nationals for Speech and Debate tonight. So So we miss her, but we're happy for her, and we are sending all our best vibes her way. Our actual first reader tonight will be Jacob Livingston. Jacob is graduating this semester, which he's very excited about. He likes pizza and sleeping in. He doesn't pick up on subtlety, and he doesn't plan to.
Rat race. 6:40, wake up. 6:45, wake up again, but for real this time. 6:46, get out of bed, head to the bathroom. 6:50 to 7:20, shower, brush teeth, style hair, get dressed, step out of the house. Some mornings, I still remember what it's like to be a morning person. But recently, each step towards day tugs at strands of stagnation. I feel hesitation as morning routine pulls me from the place I really want to be. It's not just the bed, but also the rest. It's also the quiet, the silence of idle hands and feet, the willful wandering mind given time for play. But days like that are for childhood and retirement. There's work to be done and a mind for it. So 7:30 to 8:25, drive to work. Other acceptable activities include swearing at strangers and half listening to NPR. 8:25 to 8:27, sit in the car and muster the strength for work. 8:27, step out of the car, ready or not. 8:28, put on a smile. 8:29, head to your desk. 8:30 to 1:20, I enter my groove. Find time to breathe, check. Keep emotions in check, check. Compliment Darlene, check. Appear productive, check. Whew, 1:20, lunch. Let's see. After work, I have groceries, then laundry, then dinner. Then I should have a little time for... no, I still need to get the shower fixed. Time is money, so I can't fix it myself. But money is time, so maybe I should. Time. Which is why God invented Saturdays. For miscellaneous work they can't fit in any other day. Important tasks such as catching up on emails, feeling the sun, arguing with the landlord because it shouldn't be my responsibility to get this damn shower fixed. What am I even paying you for? Working on mindfulness, feeling joy, eating 3 meals in a day. Crap. 1:43, I haven't touched my lunch. 1:43, I should be back to my desk. 1:44, time to get back to work. 1:47, stop being so lazy. 1:47, being lazy will get you fired. 1:47, being lazy will have you on the streets. 1:47, lazy people starve, lazy people die in the cold, lazy people drag down the rest of us. 1:50, get back to work. 1:55, get back to work. 1:57, dear God, why can't you just focus and get back to work? 2:20, quarterly planning meeting. Take notes, pay attention. Don't you care about the company? Don't you care about your job? 2:35, quit looking out the window. Focus, give insightful feedback. 2:35, not insightful enough. 3:40, organize the meeting minutes using the template. 3:50, send the minutes to meeting attendees. 4:09, keep working. 4:15, I need that promotion. 4:15, rent is going up. 4:15, I don't have time to find a cheaper place. 4:26, they have to notice how invaluable I am. 4:37, they have to give me a promotion eventually. 4:40, make sure I'm the last to leave the building. 4:42, walk past the boss's office. Are you looking, Todd? 4:45, sit in my car and breathe. 4:46, sit in my car and just take some time to myself. 4:47, just sit in my car and... 4:47, no, get going, there's so much left to do. I need to go and get... What happened? Didn't this used to be fun? I used to like getting older and trying new things and taking my time. But now, I can't enjoy a good meal without worrying how long it took to prepare. I can't enjoy daydreaming because of how badly it interrupts my workflow. I can't enjoy a long walk in the sun because it isn't on the agenda. I let them turn my curiosity into capital. I let them turn my life into a race. I'm running to meet deadlines. I'm running to make ends meet. I'm running to an early death in my 30s due to a heart attack. I love to run. I used to love to run. Just one more in a long line of USUs that only ever grows. You know, if I run far enough, maybe I'll find a place where there's no such thing as wasted time, only wasted thought. And all the thoughts on how I could better be spending this time are wasted, so I let them go. Even a stop clock knows to take its time. But fantasy, it's for children. Philosophy, it's for retirement. The line can only go up. Redundancies must be eliminated. Inefficiencies will be reduced. The chain always breaks at the weakest link. Are you the weakest link? The failure that lets everyone down? It's all wrong. When did I get like this? When did sleep become boss productivity, or friendship a compromising investment, or calling my mom a stretch goal, or enjoying myself a gross error in the budget? The version of success I was sold turned out to be false advertising. Is this all there ever was? 7:20, get home. 7:30 to 8, dinner. 8 to 9:30, do the laundry. Other acceptable activities include vacuuming and kind of watching some game show or whatever. 9:35, brush teeth. 9:37, get ready for bed. 9:40, get in bed. 9:41, wasted thought.
Thank you, Jacob. And I gotta say, we didn't set a theme for our poems, but a really loose theme did emerge, which was how much office life sucks. Which might just be the theme of the 21st century. But Jacob did a really good job portraying that, I think. Our next reader is Dominic Bentil. Dominic Bentil is a USU student who has a total of 10 fingers and 10 toes. He dreams of waking up tomorrow, and he enjoys a nice warm drink sometimes.
The poem I'm going to share is titled Overgrown, like myself. With little but a silent noise, the green days come to an end. Unattended for years and now overgrown, sodden moss grows on the green throne, ripe and thick and full and brimming, the king drowning from his own exuberance. So little comes, so little leaves. The king's breath lost and then caught and then lost again in a labored effort to keep green days green, further delaying desperately needed renovations, resulting in roots invasive and deep from rumination. Roots invasive and deep from rumination, removal of which costs time and mental preparation. Results are abrasive and permanent. With little but a silent noise, the green days come to an end, along with the buildup of kindling, an omen to days other than green. The continual buildup of kindling, an omen to days other than green. The now fearful king employs caustic countermeasures to combat the change of days. The now frantic king hides and is helpless to the days now changing red. Foretold cataclysmic climaxes cause color contamination, leading to a loss of green moss and more red and red screaming. With the turn of the bloody sun, nothing more remains other than the brittle black that now scars his throne. With the rise of the black moon, few of the few who remain will say, "You don't seem the same." Most will say nothing at all. Few remember days of green and days of red. Most try to remember nothing at all. Although ugly, although pitiful, although painful, although seemingly pointless, this bitter black that now stretches its fingers across his earth facilitates fertility and endless possibilities. Thank you.
Thank you, Dominic. next reader is Eliza Taylor. Eliza is an anthropology major here at USU with a minor in folklore and focus in museum studies. She enjoys playing D&D with her friends, painting, lighting candles in a dark room, and she hopes to one day go on a cross-country trip to track down famous American cryptids.
Hello everyone. This poem is titled The Resume, which is why I figured I gotta dress for the job you want, right? To whom it may concern, I hope this letter finds you well and in good spirit, or at least well enough to pretend you are. I am interested in your organization, and attached I have included a cover letter for why I would be perfect. I warn you, I will be expecting a response. First off, allow me to introduce myself. I was not always this person. Starlight reflections of a shattered mirror glass, panes of color sealed together with time, and prayers, wishes trapped in aging wine bottles waiting to explode or die out. I was not always quiet. When I was little, my words shot from my tongue like arrows made of dandelion weeds, my eyes forged and welded in the irons of Gofanan's flames, my teeth sharp from the wolves I read about, their gums stained with cake and red cape, crafted my soul into imperfectly placed wooden walls of a Jenga tower, and I learned to call Unsurety my home. But with time, as all good girls are, I was trained to be less of what I am and more of what is needed. I present to you now a woman made of strength and power, ambition and cleverness. I dare you to withhold what is mine to want. I dare you to see less of what I want you to see. My resume grows larger each day, louder than the raps on professors' doors, longer than the emails filled with, if that's all right, and just in case, and I hope I'm not a bother, more in your face than you ever wanted. My nose will be so close that you'll be able to see every black-headed pore from every late-night skincare routine that I definitely do without fail, because hashtag I am girl boss, hear me roar. My resume is printed in black and white. Perfectly poised templates for my sisters before me, their ink a rule book for how to be seen. If I don't like a response, expect me in your office at 7 a.m. the next day. You'd be a fool to not love me, to not want me, to not see my list of awards and titles and promotions and think of me as any less than the woman I present before you. You need me, please. Need me. When I was 17, I saw that my smile would never be louder than my achievements. When I was 13, I learned that the only way to stop the boys from looking at me that way was to make them never want to look me in the eyes again. When I was 5, my father told me I was too annoying to ever want, that I held his hand too tightly. And even now, when he tells the story of my innocent love, he forgets his hand in teaching me how to break it. Now, I knock on professors' doors and smile that smile, my ink dripping from my teeth and staining my lips, my words printed and calculated and raw, until that woman becomes far too easy to transform into. I wish that were enough, that words got me farther than the entrance. But somehow, in this terrible, tangled mess of a broken little girl, I've unlocked the key to loneliness. Experience. I have started way too many things to count. Been the backing behind so many forgotten projects that I'm beginning to wonder if people only see me when I make them. With a voice loud enough to force you to need me, I've forgotten what it means to be wanted. In a lifetime of choice, I am the only thing left. The bottom of the barrel, my words, an exaggerated whisper, a plea for acceptance, calloused hands and lap-worn knees against crooked stone, my head bowed before the chopping block, an assurance that one day the blade will no longer fall, or perhaps, in a silent wish that it might. You are indomitable, I tell my sister, hand clenched tightly in hers, eyes brimming with tears. You are a force to be reckoned with, and anyone would be lucky to love you. I tremble at last, unaware that these words are ones I've begged to hear for centuries. I wish I could be strong enough to not need it. And yet, when I visit, I still present my resume and list all the reasons I might be worthy enough to be heard, hoping that one day my father will like me enough to want to hear the unimportant. But every time I open my mouth, I see the reflection of that shattered little girl again in his eyes, and I know no matter how loud my voice is, no matter the ink and template and perfectly poised synonyms in Times New Roman font, no matter the meetings with professors and promises of a brilliant, flashing future, I will never be anything worth wanting. Here are a few words that describe me. Leader, unless that's not something that you're interested in. Ambitious. Don't let them see how much you need this. Determined. That's all I know how to be anymore. How can it be, in the times when I've had nothing to my name, but a vow as powerful as arrows, eyes as fiery as forged stars, teeth as sharp as wolves? How in those moments, when I was nothing but a blur, nothing but unforgivable, I felt the most important. And now, presenting myself as promises and oaths backed by years of inconsequential workshops and flimsy titles, my name a mimicry of what it once was, my eyes dim, my teeth sugared, my tongue useless. How is it now, when I am finally golden enough to be placed on his shelf, I feel the most forgotten? And even in the hands of those who have claimed to love me, why is their slow sighs a bullet to my heart, but their patient reminders nothing except for a list of reasons for how I've lied, for how they've lied, for how I am nothing more than an exaggerated list of lies in black ink, a reference? You want a reference? In these moments where I have claimed I am so needed, it would be foolish to think otherwise. The word want tastes like ash on my tongue, remnants of a great fire that I've learned to douse in rushing rivers of reality. I fear it is too real to know the truth behind smiles. So instead, I lace my tongue with blades of sugar-sweet arsenic and hope that one day I will learn how to be more than ink again. Thank you for your time and consideration. If needed, do not hesitate to reach out. In fact, expect my appearance shortly. Sincerely, your best possible choice.
Thank you, Eliza, and that is going to be a tough act to follow. And can we get a round of applause for our performers so far, and for Dominic, who memorized his poem, which means I will be our final featured reader for tonight. I wrote my bio in the third person for some reason, even though I knew I would be reading it, but we'll go with it. Michael Skillings is the president of the USU Bullpen and a student at USU in his first of several senior years. He's been coming to the bullpen for nearly 4 years, and he's very excited to be in charge now. He mostly writes self-indulgent sci-fi power fantasies, but he's occasionally known to produce something of quality. This is entitled Pretty Bird. I was sitting on a park bench once, on a lovely day. Sun was bright, air was cool, light breeze whispering through my hair, tossing it in that way where it looks cool and feels cool, but deep down, you know that it's going to be a nightmare to comb that hair. But today, I didn't care. I was just happy to be alive, happy to be sitting on a bench outside. My friend looks over at me, stares at me for a few seconds and asks, dude, why are you sitting like that? Like what? Like that, leaned back against the arm, legs crossed at the knee, hands folded comfortably in your lap. I don't know, it's comfortable. Ah. You are attracted to women, right? Fellas, is it gay to sit comfortably? Or once I was having a nice dinner by myself at a buffet, carefully avoiding touching the slightly sticky tabletop, carefully avoiding thinking about how conceptually disgusting buffets are. The heavy scent of grease and sodium on the air, when I decided to finish my meal with a little treat. Came back with a little spoon and a little cup of ice cream. My friend looks at it and asks, strawberry, huh? Yeah, sure is. You know, strawberry is a pretty fruity flavor. Yeah, I know, shut up, I said, and closed my eyes. Tried to enjoy my little treat, but with each bite I could still hear his voice. Fellas, is it gay to eat strawberry ice cream? Y'all ever heard of that band, The Naked and Famous? They have a sound I can only describe as sparkly, with billowing, echoing guitars and synths glittering like snowflakes. Alyssa Xylith has the clear, glassy voice of an angel, and her lyrics scratch the deepest emotional itch of my heart, always bringing tears to my eyes. But whenever I listen to them, lurking beneath is my friend's voice saying, why are you listening to this? Why do you like this? Imagine if your father saw his son like this, brought to tears by some trite whinging about feelings and love. Look at you. You even cry like a woman. Come on, man. It was my dad who showed me this band in the first place. Fellas, is it gay to like good music? Fellas, is it gay to like strawberry ice cream? Fellas, is it gay to like sitting comfortably? Fellas, is it gay to wear the bracelets your sister bought you? So every time you see them on your wrists, you can remember how much she loves you? Fellas, is it gay to wear your hair long and spend 30 minutes on the curls each morning to give people something to remember you by besides what's your major, where are you from? Fellas, is it gay to paint your nails just because you like the way they look against the greasy black plastic of the keyboard at your job, beneath the hot fluorescent lights in a sea of khaki and polyester, and the same, not too much off the top combed hair, a sea of beige, doughy masculinity, a constant reminder of who I don't want to be, and a threat of who I might become, who I'm expected to become. Fellas, is it gay to want to be loved, to be remembered, to be different? Of course not. And it's so easy to say, but it's so hard to feel. Because as it happens, all this doubt and insecurity doesn't come from without, it comes from in here. Somewhere down the line, all these opinions and expectations leaked through the seams in my skull like toxic slime, and now they're trapped in here with me, judging me whenever I sit down, poisoning my musical soundscape, pissing in my strawberry ice cream. But I do it. I listen to it. I eat it anyway. Not only because I really do like it, but because I'll take any chance I get to flip the bird to that silent, invisible voice, a bird with a very pretty sapphire blue nail. Thank you. We will now move to the open mic portion of tonight.
Give it up one more time for Mike.
Thank you. I always enjoy coming. What a great place. Our first three readers will be Mark, then Sarah, then is that Blake?
Yep.
Yeah. Mark, Sarah, and Blake. And if you want to sign up, it's just right here. Sorry.
Mark.
haven't been here in a while, so I figured if I didn't go first, I'm not going. So, I've got a couple of just bite-sized poems with snappy titles, like Neurodivergent Poem number 1 and Neurodivergent Poem number 2. Okay. Choose well, choose good. Don't know where to go from there. Stuck? Yeah, you're stuck. That's okay. Try again, try again, try again, and again. Aha! Aha! Did I think I had something? Where's this even going? Who cares? Whatever this is, it's moving. That's something. Memories. Striking like a Newton's cradle. We called it associative writing. To keep moving, don't others just call it that? Or don't others just keep calling it being alive? Maybe. I almost interrupted myself just now. Wait, that can't happen. Life cannot interrupt life. Poem number 2. I wish I could see what is without comparison metaphor. These are a mere perspective, trapped in my own small world of memories. The past is all we have, future hasn't happened, present still to be remembered. I guess I'm just an animated sack of past. Here I straddle the sinking surface of today like a water strider, watching another world just beneath the dimples of my feet against the tension of the waves. It gets lonely up here until the other surface bugs come forth, as they always do, and find each other. Poets don't die, they rearrange into their old chaotic pieces, back to bird tracks in the snow, to children screaming, to a secret French toast recipe, to the empty parking lot, the lonely parties, to feeling ignored, or worse, feeling watched, back to the elements of impact, of a speeding truck or tongue, a thrill ride, a cliff dive, the family dog, the family friend, a future ex, a sour candy, a sour teacher, a sweaty preacher, back to their makings in trails of comet dust. Feel 2 black holes, one in each heel, engulfing every nerve and cell. You sink into lukewarm nihilo. The orbs consume, pull themselves up, meet at your tailbone, and climb over every gasping organ, every leery muscle, every weary limb. You are now ahead, just ahead. Even darkness now recedes. Drawing in deep, mind slips into the sinkhole. How nice it is, just for a minute, to pretend I have a body, instead of the sticky truth that I am a body. Thank you.
Not the light. Okay, my name's Sarah. I have a few poems. I aspire to write longer poems like these beautiful writers we've heard, but I have a couple short ones as well. So this first one, I took an introductory poetry workshop a few years ago, and there happened to be a lot of poems that were just very gushy about stars, and this was my response. The stars are stuffed with far too many words. I throw some stars in a pot of boiling water and watch them crack open, screaming like clams, as their innards tendril out into thick, glittery, writhing soup. I let my hair down, dance to the scraping, their kinkers releasing all the names who force-fed them and dumped a pail of old big ones on my porch. Father at the piano. He's a jug-handle moon, an arc spilling past into Steinway, so keys will palm it up and hand it back to him. Chill plates of ice, numb feeling. Notes give dusk to lines between his teeth, like the night I dove to the deep of a lake, all wrapped in skin, and fin-back monsters drifted by, ivory-fleshed, with seeping wounds and glass-washed eyes. I saw his darkness twice. It hid from others and from our mother who crawled to the shower to wash herself and ready the children for school. Thanks, I tried one night, for staying with her sickness. His eyes slid down, cold falling scales, and paled at glimmers of whalebone. Okay, this next one is called Lake Body. It's based on a local body of water. Silent, my body pulses, breasts moving like choppy waves out on that lake that's always full of a million boats. You take them, their soft crests claimed by you. That is your right in the colonial realm of female body and earth, and taking and staking your claim hard into it. Below, there is a long-toothed fish with hair tangled in muck and fingers that reach both little beaches, where all the tourists have their umbrellas and sandwiches. They are spilling crumbs. There are flies gathering on clots of fat covered in sand. Ants taking sun chips piece by piece in a chain of glimmering hairs on thoraxes to tunnels going who knows where and making who knows what patterns. Maybe the paths are beautiful. Maybe they reach a place we won't discover. Maybe the colony glows at the deepest part of their home. Maybe they whir and do team-building pyramid activities when it's completely dark. And they've piled the chips up high for winter and arranged the queen's eggs in a sacred glob of mayonnaise. One day the fish will close her fist and take everything down deep and wrap it in seaweed, and my breasts will shake for no one, everyone. I will at last just be a lake. Okay, and second to last, this is Mormon Mothers. It starts with an epigraph. Actually, two epigraphs, because I couldn't choose one. Yeah. Okay, Mormon Mothers. Latter-day Saint women understand that being a mother is their highest priority, their ultimate joy. President Dallin H. Oaks, 2018. Epigraph 2. To all mothers, I say, you are saviors on Mount Zion. Jeffrey R. Holland. A shatter of crucifixes walking around, picking glistening bunches of kids from soccer fields and scooping fat zucchinis out of the tinny thunder of the grocery aisle, cursing the gathered dew, forever piling numbers in their neat rows on cold metal scales, hanging themselves nightly on the wall, egg and flour sticking nicely to the flat white gems in the frying pan below, a smear of paprika across their foreheads, hands too long for their age and wilting, from arms stuck straight out to their sides, heads draped heavy and low. And this is the last one. This is based on a true story. My blind brother who went insane. The birds are God, he said, laughing. He was Jesus. Somehow it seems right. A man who had never seen a bird describing the incantations that way. Babblings. Like the bells our mother hung on his door, the ones he'd feel for and shake too hard before opening. A smile. Unlike the unblind, he smiled only when actually happy. Until we returned from backpacking in the winds and heard the voicemail he left me. The birds aren't God. We found him. He was Einstein. He was on a cruise. He was sweating. He was almost dead. Brain lost in bells. Fallen juniper berries, too many moons for the soil. Thank you.
My turn already. Feel good. Now, what I have for you guys today was originally... Hey, Blair. How are you? What I have for you guys today was originally a Poe Bev performance, but seeing as they got a professional taking up most of the slots, I guess you guys will have to do. But I'm honored to stand before the bullpen tonight, all these talented poets, like Dom. What I have for you today is essentially an earlier poem that I wrote just by itself, and kind of a supplemental poem that I wrote for the purpose of performance. So this takes place in two different segments, and if you can guess when one segment ends and the other begins, I will personally come up to you after the show and ask for your mother's phone number. Oh, backpack my backpack! I cannot look back, for you're the only one for me. You teach and show the way I be. My speaker that always blasts Mr. Blue Sky. My laptop that sips on crappy Blue Zone Wi-Fi. And all the things I've yet to buy with the card that belongs to my parents. Isn't my life hard? My TI-84, which breaks questions apart. Printed snaps from my crush that still get a friend's borrowed book gives my mind a jump start. This bag is a window to my schemas and heart. Study it and you'll find some predictabilities. But cliche or not, 'tis mine and mine own sensibilities. Sensibilities that I will now explain in segment 2. Break apart the human form, see every muscle fiber. See its bones, its blood, and witness every neuron fire. But to explain the consciousness, the right totality, is this the task in which we only see the arts succeed? I guess that's why we like to take our actions on abstractions, play numbers, always even out with opposite reactions. Even thoughts like these, I know they have been thought before. I know there's precedent for all that my life has in store. No original thoughts, no matter if I wish it. We just take the thoughts and world that we're born into and then twist it. If we twist it hard enough, then perhaps we will then be listed and read about by some kid thinking the same thoughts that we did, but different. How much I'm you, how much I'm me, even this I've presumed. I postulate most everything, because I am entombed in a wirework that can perceive, just not always reality, hoping that I've not already been doomed. The am that's I, it's how I'm built, which right now sand and soon is silt. For your health, scribe in the dirt, even if tripe, something assert. That's all I have for now.
Thank you to those last 3 readers. Our next 3 will be Ronald, Dominic again. He's getting he's double dipping. No, but we love to hear from him. And after him, it'll be Teresa Dyer.
Hi.
Hi, Ron.
From welcome. Like the wind. I remember back in school, and I thought your hair was like the wind. It was so fair. I thought your eyes were so beautiful, you were like the sun. I thought you'd be my girl, it'd be a lot of fun. Like the wind, you carried me away from my going out to the present day. Like the wind, I'll always be there to buoy you up from year to year. And use my belly, you fall for me. When the time was out, I got down on one knee. Now we are married, after all this time. So I started like the sun, saying, glad you're mine. Like the wind, you carried me away from my going out to the present day. Like the wind, I'll always be there to buoy you up from year to year. Work up all women. I know I have weaknesses, and I'm a perfect man. I hope when you meet me, you'll take me as I am. I hope I can give you all the love we deserve. I hope to be the husband that you'd be glad to serve. Oh women, wherever you are, I'm waiting to be a bright star. And when it's in the marriage, you spin it like a feet. We're looking to put it better on the baby's little feet. If I kids are anything, and the kids in my school who stood a leather and beer jewels. the women, wherever you are, I'm waiting to be about to start. My kids are gone, they've all moved away, all forever go, till their dying days. When it's life is still, after all of you gave, hope our love continues, beyond the earthly graves. Women, wherever you are, I'm waiting to be about to start.
Hello again. Apologies for double dipping. Please do not revoke my status as a bullpen member. I have nowhere else to go. To make up for that, I'm not going to be sharing just all of my poems. I'm going to be sharing 2 poems that were integral into my love for poetry by other people. Plus, I just love poems, and that's just part of it. The first one is titled "Lying in a Hammock at William Duffy's Farm in Pine Island, Minnesota" by James Wright. Over my head, I see the bronze butterfly, asleep on the black trunk, blowing like a leaf in the green shadow. Down the ravine behind the empty house, the cowbells follow one another into the distance of the afternoon. To my right, a field of sunlight between 2 pines. The dropping of last year's horses blaze up into golden stones. I lean back as the evening darkens and comes on. A chicken hawk floats over, looking for home. I have wasted my life. The second one is titled "So You Want to Be a Writer" by Charles Bukowski. If it doesn't come bursting out of you, if it doesn't come, excuse me, apologies, I just get excited. If it doesn't come bursting out of you in spite of everything, don't do it. Unless it comes unasked out of your heart and your mind and your mouth and your gut, don't do it. If you have to sit for hours staring at your computer screen or hunched over your typewriter searching for words, don't do it. If you're doing it for money or for fame, don't do it. If you're doing it because you want women in your bed, don't do it. If you have to sit there and rewrite it again and again, don't do it. If it's hard work just thinking about it, don't do it. If you're trying to write like somebody else, forget about it. If you have to wait for it to roar out of you, then wait patiently. If it never does roar out of you, do something else. If you first have to read it to your wife or your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your parents or anybody at all, you're not ready. Don't be like so many writers. Don't be like so many thousands of people who call themselves writers. Don't be dull and boring and pretentious. Don't be consumed with self-love. The libraries of the world have yawned themselves to sleep over your kind. Don't add to that. Don't do it. Unless it comes out of your soul like a rocket, unless being still would drive you to madness or suicide or murder, don't do it. Unless the sun inside you is burning your gut, don't do it. When it is truly time, and if you have been chosen, it will do it by itself, and it will keep doing it until it dies, or it dies in you. Until you die, or it dies in you. There is no other way, and there never was. Then one last poem, in honor of my grandpa who's passing. I wrote this one. I'm sneaking in one of my own. Apologies again, please do not kick me out. This one's titled "April Showers." The world really is changing, once a day, little by little. My father remembers a time when it never snowed on his birthday. I remember the day that changed. Some people think all snow is the same. You don't want to hang around those guys. People like that are stuck, a rock in the river of change. People really do change, once a day, little by little. My grandfather remembers a time when people were different. He isn't around anymore. Him and I share a birthday, so I like to imagine him changing with me, once a year, little by little. I try to remember what he believed about change. Some people are never really gone, he would say. I try to remember that. Thank you.
I thought maybe because this winter just won't stop being winter, I read a couple, maybe two or three poems about snowmen. Unless I can't find one of them, and then I won't. Alright, this one's called Hangover Day. Midday glare from snow-lining road attacks a hangover through open curtains. Living room, quiet carpet, streaked with melting ice from last night. Vomit cascades off couch end. Boots untied, heavy around feet of the wincing figure in cushions, moaning for water or morphine. Eyes opened like Pandora's box, drawn to boots, pillow dribble, fighting tears from outside's white. Standing a fight with the friend whose man you slept with. Crawling is that bittersweet lust. Kitchen, floor cool on face. Cringe even from the light of the open fridge. Pry yourself vertical by the counter. Shot glass, 3 drops of whiskey bottom. The rest traded for last night's memories. Trapped in syrupy counter rings. Cell phone, nauseating chronicle of each wrong turn on a route that ended on the couch. Snow, sunlight bends toward pupils. Impulse to duct tape curtains closed, ends with snowman sighting and vague memory. This one's called Snowman. 2 children wade through toys in a room devoted to their existence when their father returns from work, furious. Neither knows what work is, though both know what it does to Dad. He dives in while they hold their breath, starts kicking piles of their possessions and splashing dolls' faces into walls. They apologize, rush to gather favorites, float their necks forward, and cry. Mom hears from downstairs, can't win, won't try. She adds another 50 cents to the jar labeled vacation in the closet. In her head, the label reads, escape. Maybe one more. If I can find it, then we'll do one more. I'm going to take up my whole 7 minutes. I promise I have one. Oh, Man of Snow. Just switching it up. Tremulous hands, numb inside thin gloves, jaded by crescendo of creation. Their sculpture, a man, short in stature and portly, fashioned in the aftermath of a fifth of whiskey and disemboweled clouds.
we do have one more, at least one more reader tonight, and that is Jacob again. We always love to hear from him, though.
Another dirty double dipper. Not this good. All right, I have a couple nature poems, and we'll see if I still like them after I read them in front of a crowd. Perspective. Slick slabs of red rock bake in the noonday brilliance. Sweat doesn't settle but drips and drowns. A scathing sun shifts in a cloudless sky. The rays pound mercilessly, pelting me uninterrupted. The expanse of stone escapes all comprehensions of size, lending itself to large, or becoming of bigger words for big, gargantuan, gigantic, ginormous. Applicable words certainly, but meaningless to me as I stand in the stillness, soaking all that I can see, bulging until I might burst, then sighing softly, reluctantly realizing I cannot see everything. Under the overpass, over the underbrush. The grass taps my shoulder, passing a note from the wind. She says to listen, so I do. The creek babbles its nonsense, always the same, yet somehow different. People are like that, and so am I. I hear leaves rustle, whispering wild gossip about between trees, sharing stories and secrets. I wonder if any are true. Another car races overhead. The muffled roar demands my attention. A man-made masterpiece hiding all this life, a pearl in a concrete oyster. The wind rushes in, bathing us in her glory, reminding us that she is eternal. The bridge will fall, the stream will dry, the wind will live, even after I die. The air stills a moment, and I wouldn't know she's there, but the grass taps my shoulder. Are you listening?
We do have at least one more reader tonight, and that is Blake, again. We always love to hear from him.
Always, every time I come up here. I got a little bit overzealous trying to bring a Poe performance into a 10-foot room, but I really like what you guys have to read, and I hope you like what I have to read. So I'm just going to read, since I already read basically one poem already, I'm going to read my two most recent poems because I just really do like writing poetry, and I genuinely enjoy the opportunity to share it with you guys. And hopefully my friend Wiesem does as well. All right, let's see here. All right. This one is called The Swimming Pool. There's this suburb swimming pool, just like the ones you've seen, which only fools do dive into before for leaves they scream. There's this suburb swimming pool that many cross and smile. Some emerge with chilly grit, and some just sit a while. Unfolding chair whilst soaking sun, some question if they're having fun. They see the scene, it's picturesque, it's trite, but still not below them. Guilt's reason why, and verse of vice, the mind is on the run. Why question if we're having fun? Why judge that which our nature holds? The cliche, mundane, temporal. We all get caught up in that snare. Return to pool with tripe to spare, still with gall to gavel swing. When doing so does not a thing but kindle kin and bridges burn. Embrace the mundane for you earn. There's this suburb swimming pool where we try to play it cool. Yet when we judge the scene of folk, we turn to fool with stick and spoke. Thank you. And this one, full disclosure, ChatGPT helped me write this one. But the final product is different enough that it's not plagiarism. My rising intonation makes that a question. This is called Like a Bad Friend. Boot and satchel donned, and spirit all bright, unceasing ascent, and a summit in sight. I love the trudge, the trial, the error and answer. And step after step just creates a being better. But as bodies do, mine just tire and spire to rest near a camp and get warm by a fire. My body's my friend, so I choose to indulge. It greets with a clause that it didn't divulge. My friend found itself something it likes more than me. The wealthier of comfort would move it to greed. Imagine my horror when I came to find, to keep its riches, my body would puppet my mind. Inertia of rest will delay a man better. My body hugs fire, but hangs up the sweater that so bravely lent me its warmth as a shield, so the body may rise with no buckle or yield. Now yielding is the body's new status quo. It's lazy and turns mind away from the snow, which sated my soul, albeit with strife. Now the body says comfort is better than life. Thank you guys. Double feature.
We have at least one more reader. We have at least two more readers. The first of whom will be Wayson, and the second of whom will be Eliza again, but we always love to hear from her.
Can y'all hear me okay? Yeah. All right. Was not planning on reading tonight, but, you know, I've never actually got to come out to any of you guys' readings before, and I've always wanted to. And hearing my buddy Blake do a couple was really good. So it made me want to share. One of my favorite things whenever I do any sort of a reading is to dress up like a hick and then read something decidedly not hickish or country. Unfortunately, the only poem that my phone would load that I've ever written is my 148 into cowboy poetry, so did not work out. It's called Get Back On. I learned to ride when I was 5, or was it 3? At what point does it stop being sitting on a moving horse and become a lesson? I learned to ride when I was young, really young enough to not remember, so I guess if you don't remember learning, you just always knew how to ride. I rode old horses, as young kids tend to do, calm as a valley breeze and bomb-proof. Bomb-proof, that's what we call the ones that don't startle, don't start or spook or take off running at a sound or a sight or a surprise. You can just ride, Saturday through Sunday, they're solid. And just the kind of kid should ride, and a mom and dad can feel safe letting the young ones take the reins. Then I was 7, or 8, or maybe 9. Still young, but not so young I needed a horse old enough to be my grandmother and gentle enough for a great-grandmother to control with confidence. I rode a paint horse named Iggy, or Intrigue if you wanted to use his paper name, and like some stuck-up English riders have to do to sound as special as they surely are compared to us lonely Western riders. Iggy was a rodeo horse near retirement, 18 and faster than I've ever rode. 2 sickle blue eyes, and it turned out too much horse for me. I barely remember what it felt like, probably a jolt, maybe a stomach twist, and certainly a crack when I hit the dirt. After that not ready to retire yet rodeo horse bucked me clean off his back. I don't remember the pain, but I remember the shock. The wind kicked from my lungs and the immature confidence of a boy bashed from my body as I lay on my back, sunk an inch or two into arena dirt that should have been soft but felt like rocks and shame and failure and fear. Rule number 1 of getting bucked off is to not land on your head. Rule number 2 is to get right back on. Get on and ride again or you'll stay scared. Cowboy code, Western way, riding rules, or whatever you want to call it. Even my parents, who had always worried for my safety, followed that rule as soon as it was clear that I was still alive and not too hurt. Back onto the back of that same horse who acted calm with me out of his saddle, but who felt my new anxiety through my tense hands and shaking legs, and who tried to buck me off again. I don't know how I didn't fall, but I got off as quick as I could, and I cried as I realized then and there that I never wanted to ride again. Damn it. Damn your hide. That's what my dad and all the old cowboys he spent time with always said. Not damn you, not damn your soul, not you damn your heart or your life or your evil actions. Damn your very hide, every single bit of your worthless living carcass. For years, that's all I could think about was that day. Damn blue-eyed paint, damn 2 solid brown, damn your hide, you son of a bitch, for making me fear the one thing that I should have loved more than any other thing, any other type of thing in this whole wide, wicked world. I didn't ride for years and years, but as high school began, and as I began to develop that adrenaline-loving, self-destructive personality I have let since dictate almost every decision in my life, I started feeling something in a part of my heart that I had long ago banished to the darkest part of my chest where my mind's wandering eye was never supposed to look. Desire washed over me suddenly, more suddenly than any cliche idea of love at first sight could ever have hoped to do. Desire to feel that loss of control, and that leap into the unknown that I had felt when my blue-eyed Iggy launched me out of his saddle and out of my budding cowboy ways. Desire for a do-over, and a reclaiming of a life that I should never have let myself lose. Desire to feel that stomach-dropping fear, but to feel it on my own terms, as I leapt like a lunatic out of the saddle of a charging horse to catch a steer and wrestle it horns and all to the ground. There were many more falls and failings, and plenty of trips to the hospital, as I retaught myself to ride and as I learned the art of bulldogging, or steer wrestling, that only the bravest and strongest and certainly dumbest of all rodeo kids could ever partake in. No fall I have taken since has ever come close to scaring me as badly as that first one did. Not even the one that left me crippled for a full summer, or the one that I still feel years and years later burning every time I try to move my right arm. How lucky I was to have that terrible, spectacular crash when I was so young that I still had the vast majority of my life to learn its lesson and to move on from it. Today, as I ride and as I rodeo and as I live in a way that only those lucky few people in this modern day are allowed to, with steady hands and a cold, hard iron will, I often think of that beautiful blue-eyed paint, a great horse, for all the fact that I wasn't ready for him, and wish I could thank him for teaching me the single most important lesson a young boy could learn. Life will throw you down whether you do right or wrong, but no matter how long it takes, you need to get back on. Thank you.
Hey guys, I'm back. I'm gonna move this real quick because I think I'm gonna trip on it one of these times. I say as if I'm gonna come up again. This poem is called Lovers Anonymous, and before I say it, I want to make sure that though I do use the Alcoholics Anonymous sort of vow as part of the poem, I have no problems or beef with Alcoholics Anonymous. I think it's amazing. All right. If there is nothing wrong with love, then does the guilt of demand fall on the lover? What is so wrong with me that I must be everything when asked to be nothing? Why must my shadow be more worthy of love than my reflection? Welcome to Lovers Anonymous. We are a welcome place, though you may be the only one here. We want you to be honest with us, though your honesty may land you in a psych ward. We love you. We love that you love us. Sisyphus, welcome back. Lovers Anonymous is a fellowship of lovers and the gradual abstinence-based recovery program. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the way she loves in lack, the courage to change the things I can, the pathetic chance of my prayers that she will, and the wisdom to know the difference. Wisdom. Wisdom is a pleasure granted to those who have the ability to take. Wisdom is a privilege that only those who don't have to worry about their impact can indulge in. Wisdom is knowing that no matter how you act, what you give, how you breathe, that there will be one without wisdom to lift you. Wisdom abandoned me long ago. And now I live among the addicted, knowing that the volume of my footstep is enough sin to give way to abandonment. We have a 12-step program here at Lovers Anonymous, one we hope you beg God to give you the strength to follow, but we both know you're really just going to mess it up again, because the sound of their laughter is a palace held up to the rubies of your own. Rent is coming due, and you're running out of ways to keep them entertained. I can stop, you tell yourself. I have control. But their envisioned touch tastes like ice water on an empty stomach, and you just can't resist the idea of finally being nothing. Step 1. We admit we are powerless of love, that our lives have become unmanageable. When did it start hurting? That universally expanding being of love in your chest. When did you realize that this black hole would swallow you one day? Money, time, blood, and bones, you will and have traded it all. So what brought us here to these ashes? Patience, patience, you say, in due time a phoenix will rise, as it always has, as it always will, and an endless cycle of everything and nothing, ignorance and the desperate, undying, stubborn mule of a heart to keep growing. I thought I buried you. I thought I killed you those so many nights, torn out your atrium, ripped through your ever-loving ventricles, whispered my words of negligence, and wrapped my rings of necrosis around your aorta, and watched as you suffocated with the lack that I have learned to call truth. Yet you still live. You still fight. What in the nothing of your life have you got to fight for? Do you fight for their happiness, for their celebration, knowing still at the end of the day that they will have no loneliness left for you to console, no hole left to fill? A child of the forgotten learns only to become the abandoned. You relish and thrive in lost spaces, but her happiness is finally starting to outgrow you. And soon, second best will stop being enough for her. What sort of earthquake in heaven caused such a mess up as yours? Who slipped and added too much? What angel above saw you worthy to give everything, worthy to receive nothing, blessed you with a regenerative heart and skin thinner than graphite, leaving your essence on every surface you touch? Step 6. We are ready to have God remove all these defects of our character. You walking, contriving, living and dying abyss of contradiction. How do you continue to be not enough and far too much all at the same time? You have learned to count the syllables of their words for the absence of breath, analyzing the weight of their steps to know your fault. It's their silent voice that tells you it has begun. The tension of her muscles, focused, painfully alert eyes just out of pain, the twitching fingers, and that's when you know it's time to shut up. Her ignorance starts small. Excuses that tell you you are not worthy enough to fill her time. For the title of friend, you carry an awful amount of shame. You don't say these words to prove your knowledge. You say them to silently beg for a notice that you aren't alone, but every off-topic phrase goes unnoticed by the only people left. Go ahead. Beg God for an answer on how to stop being everything. He will leave you with silence. It is all you know. Step 12. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we try to carry this message to addicts and try to practice these principles in our affairs. The idea of love is a desolate and starving desert. It is a scrambling Wall Street. It is a silent bedroom filled with scraps of fabric and middle school books. A girl turning up the volume on her radio in the attempt to muffle the sounds of their shouts. She is empty, but a black pit grows inside her. I wonder now if I was born to be an antithesis, my immortal heart a seed of eternity to make up for the starving abyss of theirs, if I was born to lay waste to the lies of their choices with my sword, a blade of unyielding hope. I wish it would just break already. I wish I could just give up. I want it to stop. Stop the endless trails of red silk leading me to the people who can't see beyond my footsteps. What impossible miracle I dream of. What impractical dream. For love to be constant. How far have we tread? That the touch of the angel of loneliness bruises my unhealed skin. How much have I lost? That the sound of my voice will always be callous. What do I have to give up to be someone weak enough to be loved? We welcome you back, Sisyphus, and know to see you soon. Thank you.
We've had no one else sign up, but since everyone else who read with bullpen read twice, I suppose I'm not going to feel weird if I do. I guess I'm not going to read it. This is, I think, the only thing I have memorized. It's something I wrote, and I think it's the only thing I've ever wrote with a straight face. Everything else I've written, especially poetry, I always write kind of wrapped in cheese a little bit, kind of with a joke at least to get into it, but not this. This one is entitled Someday Soon. This is not a good sign. I wrote it on August 1st, 2022, which was the worst day of my life so far. The river flows. The shadows move. The colors change, and the pain fades. Someday soon, I will wake up in my bed. I will brush my teeth. I will tie my shoes, and everything will be all right. There aren't any closing announcements on my script.
I can make a couple.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so our next two Helicon West events on April 13th, we'll be meeting here for a creative writing workshop about poetry and memory led by Millie Tolis. There will be 30 minutes of writing time that you can just come and use, and 10 minutes of instruction from Millie, who is an incredible poet. And then on April 27th, I'm making up dates, but yes, Kyler's nodding. We have the bullpen, not the bullpen, that's tonight. We have the Sink Hollow Creative Writing Contest winners, and that will be at the USU Library in room 101. And that's the only Helicon event that doesn't have an open mic, because we have a lot of great winners who will be reading their work. So look forward to both of those events, and those are our announcements. Do you want to wrap up? I can wrap up. Do you want to? Okay, cool. Then I'll just say thank you all for attending tonight. It's been a great turnout, and we always love the Bullpen Slam team. This was an incredible year, so thank you. Thank you, thank you.